Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. Hey, just got done feeding these cattle. They're all fired up in this barnyard. Complete rain day, real soaker all day. Finally coming to the end, but man, did it rain. It's supposed to be nice the next week. That'll be good, dry it up. But I was pondering and talking with my wife, and being that I'm 42, going on 43 soon, am I at my midlife? And I said, maybe I'm going through a midlife crisis. What is a midlife crisis? Well, we talked and laughed and said, well, some people buy a Corvette or a motorhome, or they want to do something wild. Well, wife's been cutting my hair now for the last year. She thought it'd be a good idea for me to get a new hairstyle. So what do you guys think? Am I going through my midlife crisis? She gave me a faux hawk. I guess if that's the worst that happens, I'm doing pretty good. Focused on the work, focused on the job. I can't even see my own hair, so I'm too worried about it. Tell me how it looks. Is it even legal to have a haircut like this and be a dairy farmer? You have to leave a comment down below, or maybe even a comment and say it's not even a big deal. You're going through a midlife crisis. But more on a serious note, August is here. We're pretty well caught up. August has always held something near and dear in my heart, and always will, from 4 years ago forward. Losing mom, it took a toll on the whole farm, the whole family. And oh, by the way, 2 years ago I had a daughter, Summer, born on almost the same day, losing mom. So one life was lost, another one was born. I want to talk about something briefly that doesn't get spoken much about on a farm. I know there's some people out there on farms that think they're too tough to share and talk about their feelings. The truth is, everybody's dealing with something. This being the 4th year of losing mom and dealing with that, to say it took a toll on every single one of us would be an understatement. But I know that my family, this farm, needs me to be strong. The work never ends, and although it still hurts, you got to keep going. I've recently found BetterHelp, and they're the sponsor of this video. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who's trained to give you helpful, unbiased advice. The best part is you can do most of it from your own phone. They match you with a therapist usually within 48 hours. So guys, if you're dealing with something and you need someone to talk to, don't be too proud. You just head to betterhelp.com/Kip Sigler. I'll also keep it linked in the description below. Just type in my channel name, Kip Sigler Farming. They'll give you a special discount for the entire first month of therapy. It's looking like the rain subsided a little bit. Hey girls, I had another heifer I just let in here. Yep, looks like she had a baby. Let's move in, see what kind of calf this is, and see how they're doing. Big mama right there. This is a red and white Holstein. The dad was red and white. I had a handful of, yep, he's a bull. Had a handful of red and white bulls, and that's why you're seeing that. She's black and white. Got hay and water in here. She don't quite know what she's doing yet, but got the calf licked off pretty good. But I want her to lick it off even better. She's a big old klutzy mama. You're doing good though, bud. Lick her off some more. There she goes. Got milk leaking right out of her, so she looks like she's gonna be a good milker. We'll leave them in there. Hopefully she nurses, leave them in there a couple days. Have some quality time. How you doing, big girl? How you doing? These are some concerned aunts and sisters. Guys, later on in the day, heated up out here. I got the big Grant man. He's hanging on. You see him a second ago. Dad's over there opening up a field. I'm opening this field. These are my uncle's 80 acres with a ditch split down the middle. Got these 2 New Holland disc vines, John Deere tractors. The wife packed us some lunch and a diaper just in case of the Grant, but we're gonna try to get this down. We got 4 days of dry weather. A little bit spongy out here with all this rain, but nonetheless, we're knocking it down. If you remember last time I cut this field, see I'm going through a big gully right here. I got her down to C1, I'm clutching it. Then I'll bump it back up to C3s. 2, 3. I cut these into 2 separate fields last time I mowed them. But this time, one big one, and I'm just taking it easy through that big gully. Get to the end of the field, I'm downshifting to C2. I'm just kind of coasting into that. Then I'll pull that throttle halfway down and start spinning it. Got the guidance set, went around it 6 times. That guidance is nice, guys. We're gonna see what Rochelle packed us for lunch. Halfway in this turn, I'm going full throttle. And I'm lining it up. Laying it down. C3, locking and loading. And away we go. I think we'll start off with a couple pretzels. The big G-Man. The big G-Man. Yeah, he loves riding in here with me. He's a good boy. Gives mom a break. So, I wanted to share this with you. I recently ran into my oldest uncle at the fair in town. Wife and I went up there to try to buy a pig. And we saw my Uncle Jack, he's 82. So I ended up talking to him for probably over an hour. We had to head back. I had to milk that night, but over an hour, asked him. I always like to learn about how he grew up with my grandfather and grandmother. You know, our farm wasn't up here in Emily City. They moved up here in 52. Grandpa first started in Romeo. Actually Washington, Michigan, then Romeo. That's like 25 to 30 miles south. They had a house fire, barn fire, and they moved up here. But my Uncle Jack, he was born in 43, he said, into World War II. Grandpa was in World War II. And it was just amazing how they started with 60 acres back then. Hang on, guys, we got a turn here. Anyway, started with 60 acres, which was a lot, especially for down where it's at. It's a lot really grown up city compared to where we live now, the main farm. But he said Grandpa worked in Rochester, which I known this story, but Grandpa worked in Rochester, and him and Grandma, well, they were growing sweet corn. And Grandma would go out there on the tractor, and I asked him what the tractor was. He don't remember that, but cultivated the corn. And then they would take it out to M53, which we're right off M53, all the way up here. They were down here more, and sell it. They'd sell it by the pickup. He'd stack the pickup truck full, and then they would go out there and sell it. And he said that his my grandma's dad, you know, which had been his grandpa, bought him a pony. He had a pony. This is the guy, Uncle Jack, that went to school. Years later, ended up going to school in the house that I live in, next to the farm. So a lot of history. Uncle Jack, he had a great life, really. I mean, I didn't see a lot of them come around once in a while, but I know my dad always looked up to him. That was his oldest brother. I said it in past videos. That's the reason why my dad was so successful. One of them. He's one of the younger sons, and he got to learn from the older brothers, get to see how they did it, take it all in, and back through that gully. Throttle up. Yeah, that was a little about seeing my Uncle Jack and made me think of Grandpa. There you go, bud. Grandpa and Grandma, and they had 8 kids. Grandpa had 8 kids in about a span of 20 years. I've got 4. People think I'm crazy for having 4. Makes me wonder we should have another one. Grandpa had 8. I could at least have 5, don't you think? Yeah, bud? Oh, he dropped the pretzel. That's all right, Sonny. There you go, buddy. Uncle Jack did mention, he said his wife watches the channel. Sees how far we've come. A lot of family does, probably, but that was good to hear. Isn't that cool, bud? Gully. Snuck up on me, boy. Mom packed him a peanut butter and jelly. Cutting the force. And I already had a bite of mine. Turkey, cheese, and lettuce. Yeah, buddy. A little bit bumpy in this field. This one in particular, we're gonna probably roll under. This will be the last cutting. We'll probably put corn here next year. And, you know, 7.5 mile an hour, just trying to get it done. Cut it probably C2. We're doing C3 now. She's pretty thin. Let's slow that down. You see we got a bit of a wet spot here. See how that guidance walks us through it. Just a small dip here in the middle of that field. But shift her back off. There's the screen. Smooth sailing now. Cucumbers from the garden. And that wet spot just now. Coming out of it. There's Big Grant. He's getting big, isn't he? He's almost bigger than his 9-year-old sister. Big bone. I hope you enjoyed this story about me seeing my Uncle Jack and Grandpa. They milked a few cows back then by hand, the milk buckets. But Grandpa always wanted to be a dairy farmer. So they sold the sweet corn, continued to milk cows. Then once they moved up to Emily City, that's when he went all in on the dairy. All family talk in this video. My dad is his grandpa. I'm talking about my grandpa, his great-grandpa. See, my Uncle Jack. A lot of history. I like history. I like learning from talking to people that came before us. How they did it. Like you say, Grandpa's probably looking down right now wondering how in the heck we got wrapped up in this auto steer. But it sure is nice for father-son bonding, eating lunch, talking, paying attention to what you're doing. Coming across, I can see Dad right there. He's making his way. That was that wet spot. We're completely out of that. We're up on high ground now. Big G's wearing down. Going through the gully. Alright, bud. This tractor will wear you out. Hold it. 25. Good boy. Both my grandparents, they lived to be 88, about 88, both of them. My dad's 70. Uncle Jack, 82. Died like, I think it was in 2010. I was 28 years old. I spent a lot of time with Grandpa. 20 years before that when I was in high school. But yeah, Yeah, it's funny, them age difference. I'm 42, my other brother's 43, my younger brother's 40, so we're all pretty tight in age. Now our kids, on the other hand, are very spread out. Got this guy's 3, my brother's son's 17. Right, buddy? Eating that peanut butter and jelly. You don't eat crust for his mom. That's what he does for me. Big Grant decided to stand up, stretch his legs. A little speed bump there. Open this up. Tell you what, it is hot out there. Beautiful, beautiful. We're near the edge. We might have to jump over and help Dad because these fields are about the same size, but there's I'm cutting this with barely 6-inch overlap, so there's no way he's cutting it as efficient as I am. So I'm beating him. So I will go help him when he's done. He's cut with this, but he didn't want to turn it on the last time, or didn't want to try to figure it out. We had it down with planting, but cutting hay, it's a little bit different because you got to cut it all down. When you're planting, there can be a little extra of a gap, but he'll eventually get it. But I figured if he wasn't going to utilize it, this tractor's a lot more comfortable to have Grant in it. That one's a 77. This one's a probably late to early 2000s, late 90s. This is a good shot of, I'm coming through here, but the ditch there's culverts right there, so I'll be going around that next. We're getting there. This field runs on a slight angle. We're gonna pick all this up right here. Every bit of it. These rows are getting shorter as we go. Getting ready to lift up, coasting in. Yeah, buddy. Come on down, big boy. Hey, feather. Don't worry about them, bud. Okay, done with our side. I'm gonna show you how dry this got when we first started. Been out here over 3 hours. Grant being a trooper, tough boy. Tractor's running excellent. Disc vine in great shape. See some of this hay. Come on over, bud. Very grassy stuff. You can see how green she is. Grassy, little bit of alfalfa coming through. He's checking it out. Just finished this. This is what we first cut. I mean, look at the difference. She's drying, man. She's 80-some degrees out here. Check that out, bud. That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, let's head over across the ditch and help Dad get done. Ready? There you go. Nice and cool in here, isn't it? Yeah, you can see the color difference on that headland. And it's to that. She's drying quick, buddy. You'd be baling this tomorrow, the next day. Got a driveway in between these two fields. There's that, and there's that. We're gonna head right through. This field here, we just entered's got more alfalfa in it. So, let's head over. There he is. Lining up. Let's turn our PTO on. Hear that? Making that tractor snort a little bit. Laying her down, boys. Wrapping up this 80. right in front of us. Yeah, this feels a lot thicker. I'm just gonna steer this one out, 7.4 mile an hour. We're gonna steer our way home. I tell you what, this feels smoother than when we were just in. We're going the same. There's Dad next to us, buttoning this up. Must be wet down in there. I go to power shift up to 3, and it doesn't like it. There she goes. He's gonna come right behind me. I know how he rolls. Dad's coming up on this wedge. I'm waiting for him so we don't collide. See Grandpa up there, tractor? Coming up on us. There he is. And we're on. Full throttle, guys. 2140 RPM.